Hello, fellow lexiphiles. This is Elizabeth at the Ashland branch, and it's time for another Poetry Corner. This month, I've chosen poems that look at opposing forces or tension. So let's get started. Our first poem today is Spin by Wendy Videlock. I have a friend in possession of a philosophical spin. If I should speak of art, theology, the universe, or whim, he thinks I speak of him. This enduring tick, indicative of universal spins, theology, art, and whim, nonetheless makes conversation grim. Our second poem today is Passive Voice by Laura Da. I use a trick to teach students how to avoid passive voice. Circle the verbs. Imagine inserting by zombies after each one. Have the words been claimed by the flesh-hungry undead? If so, passive voice. I wonder if these sixth graders will recollect on summer vacation as they stretch their legs on the way home from Yellowstone or Yosemite, and the byway's historical marker beckons them to the site of an Indian village where trouble was brewing, where, after further hostilities, the army was directed to enter, where the village was razed after the skirmish occurred, where most were women and children. Riveted bramble of passive verbs etched in wood, stripped hands breaking up from the dry ground to pinch the meat of their young red tongues. Our next poem is Names by Teresa May Chuc. I am tired of having 5 different names, having to change them when I enter a new country or take on a new life. My first name is my truest, I suppose, but I never use it, and nobody calls me by this Vietnamese name, though it is on my birth certificate. Tue Mi Chuc. It makes the sound of a twang of a string pulled. My parents tell me my name in Cantonese is Chuc May Wei. 3 soft bird chirps, and they call me Ah Wei. Shortly after I moved to the U.S., I became Teresa Mi Chuc, then Teresa May Chuc. Teresa is the sound water makes when one is washing one's hands. After my first marriage, my name was Teresa Chuc Prokopiev. My second marriage, my name was Teresa Chuc Dowell. Now I am back to Teresa May Chuc. But I want to go way back, reclaim that name once given and lost so quickly in its attempt to become someone that would fit in. Who is Tue Mi Chuc? I don't really know. I was never really her, and her birthday on March 16th, I never celebrate because it's not my real birthday, though it is on my birth certificate. My birthday is on January 26th, really, but I have to pretend that it's on March 16th because my mother was late registering me after the war. Or it's in December, the date changing every year according to the lunar calendar. This is the one my parents celebrate because it's my Chinese birthday. All these names and birthdays make me dizzy. Sometimes I just don't feel like a Teresa anymore. Tue isn't so embarrassing. A fruit learns to love its juice. Anyways, I'd like to be a string, resonating, pulled back tensely like a bow, then reverberate in the arrow's release, straight for the heart. Our next poem is Meditation, Denying Everything by Peterson. Because it is a pearly evening, I am sitting in the window reading a book I have read before. Branches emphasize their heft and sway over their shadows. Some kind of extra firmament, an ear over the earth's ear, extra, as language is to prayer. Narratives of elsewhere, in the eye inside my eye, that vision makes when you tell it to, when you shut your eyes so hard they hurt. You get more vista and less twist of road. And then you're looking at a valley you named yourself and irrigated yourself, full of bitterroot, magnolia in the clefts of rock, sage, at last a harvest, a desert that belongs to you. The trick to renunciation is starting now. The secret of detachment is having already given up. A transcript of speech whose cadences are lost. The human need for a body to fill in your body's deficiencies. Those clefts and dents already given up. The narrative of a life completely altered in the retrospect that knowledge brings, and so discredited the point of memory utterly lost. That piece of land has always been suitable for a house. That nest has never been ready for 8 baby birds who, top-heavy, frightened their own branch and home and scared themselves completely and remarkably away. Do you hear that? It's the wind negotiating the spine of one leaf. It cannot decide whether to raise a fragment of an inch. Duncan writes, as a reader, I struggle with a strong sentence. I struggle, at certain unmistakable times, with what's furtive and most right. When people marry, they finish their names. I'm still listening for mine to begin. My spine wants a bicycle to order its work, a red bicycle. A hill into the heart of a city that holds something I want. The pattern of the air around that leaf is like someone tracing my rib cage with his index finger and then walking away. Who can blame us for wanting other worlds? But shall we take them or let them come to us? Is the spirit just an ear, more like a mouth that bites the air and turns it into blood? A voice in the next room goes to sleep. Sleep moves in the branches of the oak, becomes a rootless mass, unsung by skeleton or name or height. My friend, who says she does not believe in paradise, believes in rest. I believe that. Or more likely, I like to think of her, the way she held my name in her small mouth as she held her own name. I like to think of anyone who on a night like this would reach towards my rib cage and trace it delicately and walk away. Our final poem for today is You Can Take Off Your Sweater, I've Made Today Warm by Paige Lewis. Sit on the park bench and chew this mint leaf. Right now, way above your head, 2 men floating in a rocket ship are ignoring their delicate experiments, their buttons flashing red. Watching you chew your mint, the men forget about their gritty toothpaste, about their fingers, numb from lack of gravity. They see you, and for the first time since liftoff, think, home. When they were boys, they were gentle and smart. One could tie a string around a fly without cinching it in half. One wrote tales of sailors who drowned after mistaking the backs of whales for islands. Does it matter which man is which? They just quit their mission for you. They're on their way down. You'll take both men, a winter husband and a summer husband. Doesn't matter which is... Don't slump like that. Get up. We have so much work to do before... Wait, you're going the wrong way. Small whelp of a woman, this is not how we behave. Where are you going? This world is already willing to give you anything. Do you want to know Latin? Okay, everybody here now knows Latin. Want inflatable deer? Deer? I promise the winter/summer children will barely hurt. Deer. I'm hurt that you would ever think I don't glisten to you. I'm always glistening. Tame your voice and turn around. The men are coming. They've traded everything for you. The gemmy starlight, the click, click, click of the universe expanding. Stop. Aren't you known? Aren't you known here? How can you be certain that anywhere else will provide more pears than you could ever eat? Remember the sweet rot of it all. Come back. You forgot your sweater. What if there's nothing there when you don't have your sweater? What if it's cold? Thank you for joining me today. As I mentioned in my last video, Pamunkey Regional Library will be running a poetry contest. For submission deadlines and more details, you can go to our website, pamunkeylibrary.org. We will be taking poems from March 15th to April 9th, and the winner will be read on our April Poetry Corner. Thanks for joining me today. I will see you next time.